Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, we have more reports coming in from that P&O cruise ship of more people who were bitten by bed bugs. And as coincidence would happen, they're all linked to the exact same cabin. Now we also have a huge popular star, Taylor Swift. Her movie went out, it sold out in theaters. She's doing the Eras tour, which is packed in theaters. Like she's #1 right now, like super big. And some travel agents are picking up on this and they're doing a Taylor Swift themed cruise. And it's kind of genius, if I do say so myself. We also have some passengers being told, we got a new surprising charge for you on board from something that used to be completely free, but now situations changed and we're going to charge you for it. So more news reports are coming out from the Pacific Explorer. I remember that lady said that she was just covered in bed bugs when she was on her luxury ship and she had to go to the doctors. You can see the photos. They're really severe. Her legs and arms are covered. And she reported it and they actually refunded her about $800 credit, which she was happy. She just wanted to let them know that this happened on the ship. She wasn't complaining to the ship. She wasn't saying anything. She just said, hey, you might want to take a look at this. The cruise ship reported that they looked at it and there's been no problems and there's no infestation. They've checked the ship. They've checked everything. And now some more reports are coming out where people have reported in to the news coverage place that covered this story originally, and as coincidence would happen, two other people came forward and both people showing bed bugs and bites and stuff like that for the exact same cabin over the same period of time within weeks of each other. So they're going to have to, now they may be gone now because the cruise line is now saying that they have not received any complaints from the people who just got off the voyage. But don't forget, sometimes these reactions can be delayed. It just feels like, oh, I'm a little itchy or a little rash, and then 3 or 4 days later, they swell right up, and then you realize what happened. So we'll have to see what happens. But yeah, more people are coming out. Now, normally this is completely fixed once you change the sheets and fumigate the room, and because once you put it in hot water and that kills them, as well as disinfecting can kill it. It's just odd that it continues on from cabin to cabin. Is it kind of like in the same cabin for more than 1, maybe 2 cruises at the most? Very unusual. Next we have I think it's 3 ladies who are friends, travel agents, who decided to, how do I say, they're super fans as well of Taylor Swift. I was going to say cash in on Taylor Swift, but it's genius. It's a brilliant idea that they decided to do with her popularity right now, with her movie selling out that she had, as well as all of her concerts sold out, and the great news that they shared with, Taylor Swift giving over $100,000 to all the drivers who were driving her equipment around as a thank you, etc. Like great stories, right? Well, they decided they're going to do a Taylor Swift cruise, and they timed it. It's going to be, I believe, on the Allure of the Seas out of Miami. It's a 4-day Bahama cruise, and it's sailing on October 21st, 2024. Now, the timing of this is there's a 3-night concerts going on that Taylor Swift is doing in Miami from the 18th to the 20th. So you finish seeing the concert on the 20th, that weekend, and then you jump on a 4-day Taylor Swift cruise. Talk about a super fan's dream of an event, right? You're not only going to her concert to see her, but then after that hype of seeing her live in stage, you get to go on a cruise with possibly thousands of other Taylor Swift fans to celebrate right after the concert. Like, the timing could not be better. On the cruise themselves, they are promising things like Taylor Swift themed cocktails, dance parties, karaoke, trivia, and nightly Eros outfits. So as this thing, I think, is, there's also a waiting list now to book this cruise. It's so popular, but the thing is, when you're holding an event like this, the bigger it gets, the more people that are there, the harder it is to control. For instance, if you end up getting 2,000 people on this cruise, the ship can hold 5, but if you get 2,000 people all there, do you have a venue big enough for 2,000 people to show up at a karaoke? Maybe not. Or 2,000 people to show up at a trivia? Maybe not. As this thing gets bigger, it can get out of hand, and I'm hoping that they are planning this well in advance and talking to Royal Caribbean, who's being, the shipyard holding this event with them. They're not associated with them. They're just, that's where it's booked on, and Taylor Swift is not involved. This is not a Taylor Swift themed item. So a lot of people, I hope, are not thinking Taylor Swift's going to be on board. She's not. I'm going to put a caveat on that because Taylor Swift is well known for surprising fans. When she put out one of her biggest selling albums of all time, she held secret meetings with super fans that she stalked online, their Facebook accounts, and watching what they're saying and seeing who they are, and all under cognito. And then they said, we're going to show you this record unveiling, and they invited them all to a party. So they would bring like 99 people to one party, 99 to 100, 99 people to, and she held these events, turned out in her own homes, as well as she showed up in person with her mom, with her dad, and also made homemade treats that she cooked herself with her family to hand out. And then they played the album, and she got this photos with she just surprised all her fans. Well known for doing that, which is, I'm not the biggest Taylor Swift knowledge musical person in the world, but I remember seeing all those stories of her doing that, and she really endeared herself to my heart just for doing that, to see the expression and the joy on her fans' faces when she did that. And I'm thinking to myself, there's a year in advance of this event. Do you think she might plan, even if it's just to get on the ship that night in the theater and walk out on stage? Would that not be amazing? And completely unplanned and unscheduled, unbeknownst to everybody. I would not put it past her, but she is in the middle of her tour. So let's just, that might be wishful thinking, but I wouldn't put it by them. But again, great on these ladies at the travel agency for coming up with this idea. But boy, make some big events, folks. Start planning it well in advance, because the more people you get on, the more they're going to expect. Trust me. Okay, next we have a gentleman who was, we all know that COVID is still around. There's a lot of, like I had COVID on my last cruise with our group cruise. We had about 10, 12 people come down with it on the ship out of a group of 130 people. So quite significant amount, 10% if you think about it. Well, one person was on his cruise with Royal Caribbean, and he had a sore throat, and he said, you know what? I think I'm going to go down and get tested, because if I have COVID, I don't want to spread it to anybody else. I'm going to lock myself in my room for a few days. He was concerned about other passengers. He was feeling okay. It was just a sore throat. So when he went down to the medical center and asked to get a COVID test, they said yes. And if your test comes back that you're positive, Royal Caribbean will pick up the cost and will look after you and stuff like that. However, if the test comes back negative and you don't have COVID, there will be a 235 Australian dollar service fee for taking the test. Now, I'm mixed on this. With COVID still around and things like that, you want to make sure passengers feel right to come down, get a test to make sure they're not going to spread it to the rest of everybody on the ship. That's the goal, right? The sooner you know, the sooner you can isolate it, less people will get infected. So they should be able to go down and get a test. What they're trying to also do is to stop those people who on a 10-day cruise would go down every single morning and want a COVID test. Just to see, just to check it out. They're feeling fine, there's no symptoms, but there are people who would do that. And of course, every time that happens, it takes up the nursing staff, the doctor staff, the testing staff. It takes time, money, and the things that people could be doing other things, plus the cost of the tests and everything themselves. So I can understand why they're doing it. However, if a person comes down and has symptoms of possible getting COVID, I think they should be given. I think the test should be given because if somebody does have COVID, you want to isolate them as soon as possible. And in this case, the gentleman said, no, I have a sore throat. I'm not paying $235 for a COVID test. Now, what happens if he had COVID test? He might have now just gone out on the ship and spread it to other people because he would have had to pay the money himself. And I don't blame him for not wanting to pay $235 for a COVID test. I think it's something the cruise lines still need to be available to do. At least that's what I think. Let me know what you guys think. Hey, does Taylor Swift concert, do you think she might show up? Do you think she just might show up live? Sounds kind of crazy. And what do you think about being charged if you're negative for a COVID test? Not if you're positive. If you're negative for a COVID test, they're going to charge you a service fee on board. Well, I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.